Let's just cut the BS. As awesome as it is for Will Levis to be 6'3", 225 pounds, have a cannon of an arm, checks off all the boxes, he ain't that great of a quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there hasn't been too much going on in the sports world the past couple of days, in any sport really, outside of March Madness. And what about the Fighting Owls? FAU, I tweeted this out. If someone would have said, I got FAU going to the Final Four, you would have thought they were doing math. I solely believe that if I would have said when I was filling out my bracket, hey guys, I think I'm going to take FAU going to the Final Four, y'all would have thought I was crazy. But however, it goes back to this, and March Madness is the greatest part about it. Anybody can win. And that is the one benefit to it. In college basketball, it's the most parity out of any sport in the world. The upsets you see in March Madness would never, and I mean never, ever happen in college football. And if it would, it'd happen one every 50 years. March Madness has been cool. It's been awesome. Although my favorite team, Alabama, has been eliminated, I've still enjoyed it a ton. However, it still doesn't top football. As much as March Madness has been exciting, I'm missing football a ton, and I'm ready to talk about it again. And you know what, and really who we're going to talk about in today's video? No other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Will Levis. Will Levis has been absolutely shocking everybody the past couple of days, but I gotta be honest with all of you, I'm not too impressed. When I show you what I'm talking about in today's video, I am very curious. I want your thoughts and opinions down below. I'm going to leave it at this. I think it's a very interesting conversation, debate. All right, Matt Bubba, I should have grabbed up now without further ado. Let's get into it. Before we get into it real quick, I want to show you these two comments that two people left on the previous video about the XFL. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Mino Guilford said, love the videos, been watching for years now, keep up the good work. And also, Mythic Plex said, Matt be great, your channel makes me laugh pretty hard. Thank you for being awesome, and having good content doesn't hurt either. I just wanted to come on here and say to those two people, I greatly appreciate those kind words. It means a lot. And also to everybody else who comments, likes, or just watches the videos, I want you to know this, your support does not go unnoticed, trust me. Thank you once again. Now without further ado, let's get into this Will Levis situation. I've been following this very closely. I actually been following Will Levis for the past 2 or 3 years when everybody started hyping him up at the beginning of last season saying, oh, Will Levis, he's going to be better than Bryce Young this year, and yeah, we saw how that happened. Or that doesn't make sense. We saw how that played out. You get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, check this out. About 3 or 4 days ago, Mel Kiper said, quote unquote, throughout 2022, you were getting about 30 or 40% of Will Levis. If you don't know what he's trying to say by that, he's saying, hey, that entire 2022 season, which was last year, Will Levis, he was hurt and banged up. He wasn't even 50% healthy. Okay, I get it. He was banged up. But if you're an athlete, even if you play at the high school level, you know that no athlete is 100% healthy. And a lot of athletes out here at the high school level, college level, and the pro level, they're playing at about 50 to 70% health. Nobody is, this is rare. It is very rare that somebody is over 85% health. You just fight through it every single week because that's what being an athlete's about. But here's my counter argument to Mel Kiper saying throw out 2022. If Will Levis would have went out there in this most recent season and flat out balled out, put up CJ Stroud or Bryce Young numbers, he wouldn't be saying that. He wouldn't have that same energy. He's only saying that because Will Levis played so poorly. Truth of the matter is, hey, we should have this same argument for Bryce Young because he played in the Tennessee game when he wasn't even 60% healthy. Bryce Young played the later half of the season with a shoulder injury that was bothering him every single week. And he still went out there and balled out. I'm sorry, I can't give Will Levis his excuse and just say, yeah, let's just throw out the entire film from 2022. I'm not doing that. I can't be the only one who is tired of this narrative about Will Levis where everybody's saying, yeah, just throw out all the film, don't watch a single game, just watch him throw in practice and you can tell he's the next big thing. Like, what? What are we doing? So I'm just supposed to watch Will Levis throw some practice balls at his pro day here and there and go, oh yeah, he's a top 5 pick? No, I'm not doing that. Recently though, Mr. Will Levis had his pro day at Kentucky and per usual, everyone is drooling over him and going crazy. Oh my gosh, Will Levis has a cannon of an arm. Oh my gosh, he looks like the next Aaron Rodgers and blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes. I'm not going to show you all that nonsense. What I will tell you is, I'm tired of all the nonsense. For example, take a look at this. Oh boy, eye emoji. One of the top ranked quarterback prospects, Will Levis. Quick release looks a lot like 4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, can't show the video because the NFL posted it and the NFL would take down my channel faster than you know what. But yeah, it's just, it is literally, I'm going to show you the picture right here, him just throwing warm-ups, 10-yard passes. Let's just cut the BS. As awesome as it is for Will Levis to be 6'3", 225 pounds, have a cannon of an arm, checks off all the boxes, He ain't that great of a quarterback. He had at best a mediocre season at Kentucky last year. And I will be the first person to tell you and remind all of you he had a terrible offensive line, arguably one of the worst in the country, and his wide receivers were dropping passes left and right. And that's cool and all, and he missed a couple of games so his numbers aren't up there with other quarterbacks, but still, he wasn't even on pace to be a Bryce Young or Caleb Williams or a CJ Stroud. And with him not playing a lot of games, he had 10 interceptions. Yes, some of those were tipped passes, but still, he was on pace for 13, 14, or 15. And last but not least, I want to show you this stat because it means the most to me. His QBR was 60.9, which ranked 59th in the country. Look, I'm not trying to tell you these numbers are bad or he's a bad quarterback because I don't believe that. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not a top 5 NFL draft pick type of quarterback. When you're selecting a quarterback in the top 5, you want the best of the best, not somebody who's just quote unquote good. He's just good. That's all there is to it. Let's not overcomplicate it. I want to remind y'all of this. You remember Zach Wilson, right? Everybody hyping him up before the draft. He's going to be the chosen one. Well, look at him now. And I remember back then vividly, I was trying to tell people and I was having questions about it. I was like, what is this hype even about? This guy's not that great. I never, and I mean never ever for a split second thought Zach Wilson was going to be an NFL quarterback. I thought he was good enough to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, but not a 1st round pick, yet alone in the top 10. And I'm not trying to say that Will Levis is going to be worse or as bad as Zach Wilson has been because I think Will Levis has more on the upside, but I still wouldn't pick him in the top 10. My point is, and where I'm getting to with this, is we've seen this story before over and over and over. It happens every single year. The media, they don't want to hype up the CJ Strouds and Bryce Young. They want to hype up some no-name. And I'm not calling Will Levis a no-name, but you get what I'm trying to say. They want to find somebody else to hype up. Here's my biggest concern with Will Levis. I think with CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, no matter where they go, they could succeed right away. I think CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are just simply that good. However, on the flip side with Will Levis, I think he's a guy who he's got to be in the right system. It's got to be a perfect fit. I don't think Will Levis can succeed at all 32 teams. He's not as good as Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, and I can't emphasize that enough. And also at Will Levis, I don't think he can go in tomorrow and win you a game. I think Bryce Young and CJ Stroud can. In my humble opinion, and this is what I believe, let me know your thoughts down below, but I think Will Levis is a project quarterback. I think he's a guy who you draft this year, he sits behind the starter, and you're hoping by year 2, year 3, year 4, he may can take over. He's got an arm. He's got a heck of an arm. He's got great size. But what about the short ball accuracy? What about the middle ball accuracy? Middle ball accuracy. Is that how you say it? It's not, but we're going to roll with it. The NFL is not about throwing 65-yard bombs. It's about dinking and diming your way down the field and being smart. And if you watch the film at Kentucky, Will Levis, he's a gunslinger. He's a risky passer. He doesn't typically want to swing it out to the running back for a check down. He wants to throw that 15-yard post route. He wants to move the ball down the field. He's not very patient, which is fine, but it can come back to bite you in the butt. And we even saw that with Patrick Mahomes. There was a time where Mahomes and the Chiefs, they were struggling because all these defenses, they were just rushing 3 and dropping 8 and going in prevent mode and making Patrick Mahomes take the short dump offs to the running backs. And eventually Patrick Mahomes, he was like, hey, I guess I'm going to have to do it, and he figured it out. I'm not sold on Will Levis. I think he can be good, but I think it's going to take some time. And yet again, it goes back to this. When you're selecting a guy in the top 5, the top 10, you don't want a guy who can, quote-unquote, take some time to get really, really great. You want a guy who can play right away. We'll see what happens. I'm very curious, so let me know your thoughts down below, but roll with it.